Hello, Alamo Drafthouse. I'm Aziz Ansari, the writer, director, and actor in Good Fortune, my new film. I'm here to talk to you about some of the films that I watched to inspire me when I was working on the film. I have a huge list here, and I'm going through it, and I guess there's different categories. I mean, obviously the film, Keanu Reeves plays an angel, so I watched every angel movie I could get a hold of. And one of my favorites that kind of deals with this stuff that maybe you haven't seen is A Matter of Life and Death by Powell and Pressburger.
You claim you love her.
I do love her.
Can you prove it?
Well, give me time, sir.
Would you die for her?
I would. But I'd rather live.
I love this film. Particularly, there's a moment in the film where this guy, he's a pilot, and his plane's gonna crash, and he's talking to the woman on the ground, and it's just incredible writing where you immediately love them as a couple, and it's just done so fast.
Are you in love with anybody? No, don't answer that.
I could love a man like you, Peter.
I love you, June. Your life, and I'm leaving you.
And the way, the production design and everything, Powell and Pressburger, the way they represent heaven and everything, it's truly incredible. But it's a really incredible movie about heaven and all these kind of things. And there's a scene where there's like an angel type, and he confronts the main character, and it was kind of similar to how Keanu's character confronts me, and kind of playing with those kind of scenes was fun, and I really enjoy the film. Any Powell and Pressburger is just unbelievable. Obviously, in Good Fortune, a big part of the premise is Keanu's character is an angel, and he swaps my character with Seth Rogen's character's lives, and so I become incredibly wealthy, and Seth becomes incredibly poor. I watch every kind of body swap movie I could think of, and I realized my favorite one is maybe one that you wouldn't necessarily think of as a body swap movie, but it's Being John Malkovich, which is just one of my favorite films, period.
There's a tiny door in my office, Maxine. It's a portal, and it takes you inside John Malkovich. You see the world through John Malkovich's eyes, and then after about 15 minutes, you're spit out into a ditch on the side of the New Jersey Turnpike.
Spike Jonze, Charlie Kaufman, everything is just incredible. The DP, Lance Accord, everything. It's just truly one of my favorite films, and I watch it for inspiration all the time, and I've seen it so many times, and I watched it quite a few times while I was working on Good Fortune.
Malkovich.
A big part of the movie is also showing my character Arj in the beginning and how he's struggling in LA and what's that's like. I watch so many films that kind of depict that kind of stuff of people struggling, and I wanted to make sure when he was struggling that it didn't feel sad or boring, or I was very sensitive to how that stuff was portrayed. And I watched so many movies, everything from like Italian neorealism for movies like Umberto D, which is one of my favorites, that I hadn't seen in a while, and I rewatched a few times for this. And I was trying to watch movies that kind of show you like how you kind of push through when things are really not going well. And Umberto D I really love, and is one of my favorites. Other movies that kind of are in that realm, I would say, you know, if you've never seen Killer of Sheep, that's one of the really great films that I feel like not everybody knows.
Man, I ain't poor. Look, I give away things to the Salvation Army. You can't give away nothing to the Salvation Army if you poor. I mean, we may not have a damn thing sometimes. You want to see somebody that's poor? Mm-hmm. Now you go around and look at Walters.
I'm always scared of saying stuff like this on videos like this, because in the comments I see like people don't know Killer of Sheep. Yeah, some people don't, and it's incredible. When you read about how that film was made, it's an unbelievable achievement, and I love that film. Another movie that I know they're potentially screening some of these movies, and this is a movie I've never seen in the cinema, and I would love to see in the cinema, is La Haine, which is another one of my just favorites. The way it's shot, and it's just one of the coolest movies I've ever seen. But I watched that a few times, and that was an inspiration to me. You know, one of my all-time favorites that I watched a lot, and this was Midnight Cowboy.
I'm walking here!
When Keanu and Seth's characters are kind of on their own, and they're kind of struggling in LA, and they're having to do DoorDash and all this stuff, it very much reminded me of Midnight Cowboy, and they were kind of a similar odd pairing, those two. I mean, it's just one of the great films. It's unbelievable, and again does a really good job of kind of showing how these guys are in Midnight Cowboy are kind of struggling in New York.
And I'll tell you another thing. Frankly, you're beginning to smell, and for a stud in New York, that's a handicap.
Well, don't talk to me about clean. I ain't never seen you change your underwear once the whole time I've been here in New York. And that's pretty peculiar behavior.
I don't have to do that kind of thing in public. I ain't got no need to expose myself.
No, I bet you don't.
Good Fortune is a similar juxtaposition, and kind of the point of the movie is like, how is LA this place where someone like Seth's character is sitting there in this mansion with a cold plunge and a sauna, and then my character has lost his job and sleeping in his car, and how are they so close to each other? And yeah, so Midnight Cowboy, another one I would love to see in the cinema. I don't think I've ever seen it in a theater. Another film that I watched while I was doing this, Sullivan's Travels, which is Preston Sturges. It was interesting to watch because the movie's about a guy who makes comedy and he's trying to make something dramatic, and he wants to understand the plight of the poor. And so he kind of goes undercover and becomes poor. But he has like this whole entourage, and they're following him around, and the movie becomes very funny.
I want this picture to be a document. I want to hold a mirror up to life. I want this to be a picture of dignity, a true canvas of the suffering of humanity.
But with a little sex.
With a little sex in it.
But the movie has an incredible message about the power of comedy itself. You know, I went through a period where I was doing more dramatic stuff, and I was kind of like, I don't want to do comedies. And I've kind of fell in love with doing comedy again, and kind of take the message of that movie to heart in a way, of just kind of how valuable it is to make someone laugh and what it can mean and how it can bring people together. But I did watch this movie because it was kind of weirdly what I was doing. You know, when I was working on Good Fortune, I did, you know, gig work, I did DoorDash, and kind of was snooping around following people that worked at like Home Depots and stuff, and interviewed all these people and really tried to understand what things people were dealing with that are similar to what my characters were dealing with. And Sullivan's Travels is about that a little bit, and it's a really great film, and one of my favorite endings for any film.
There's a lot to be said for making people laugh. Did you know that's all some people have? It isn't much, but it's better than nothing in this cockeyed caravan.
Of course, I watch some Italian neorealism, and people usually jump to The Bicycle Thieves when they think of Vittorio De Sica, but I would say you need to also watch Shoeshine, which is one of the most mind-blowing films to me. It's about these two boys and their struggle with poverty, and it's so epic in what it ends up dealing with in terms of these kids' friendship and all these things it tackles, and it's truly impressive. And I feel like a lot of times when you're watching these movies, you tick off the ones at the top of the list, and sometimes there's ones that are a little bit lower that are truly incredible that get overlooked a little bit. Shoeshine feels like one of those movies to me, and I highly recommend it. Another group of movies I watched a lot of were movies about workers' movements and unions and things like that, because of Kiki Palmer's character in the film. She plays a woman that's trying to unionize her Home Depot. I interviewed a gentleman who was really trying to do this, and I watched a lot of films about these kind of things, and one of my favorites was Matwan. It's so weird, I'm doing this and I feel like I'm doing some sort of Scorsese sounding voice. One of my favorite films was Matwan by a gentleman named John Sills, and but that is an incredible film. It features some truly incredible performances, and it's riveting.
When you know there ain't but two sides of this world, them that work and them that don't. You work, they don't.
I haven't seen it in a while, but oh man, the guys that are the Union Busters, they're like some of the most evil characters. One of them is the guy that plays Locke's dad in Lost, the guy that like pushes him out the window, and the guy is just like, I don't know if in real life that guy's a good guy, because he's so evil in both these roles, and that's what I mainly know him from. But he's incredible, the whole cast is incredible. It's a wonderful film.
I take care of my people. You bring them trouble, you're a dead man.
These are just some of the films I found inspiring, and I hope you get to check them out, and don't miss Good Fortune when it comes to the Alamo Drafthouse, October 17th.